Hey guys, it's Archie here. I hope you're all doing well. In today's video, I interviewed Declan James, the current number 23 in the world at squash, and we had a massive discussion about his career from right at the beginning to where it is now. And I've got some interesting content for you guys. So I'm going to stop talking and I'm going to let you watch the video. However, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and give me a comment down in the comment section below on why you like the video. But yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.
Yeah,
Peace.
your uncle was the one who influenced you into playing squash and really got you interested in the sport.
Yeah, exactly. So he sort of piqued the interest at a young age. So I was fortunate to have that. So I guess it was a family affair, really, because then, my dad started playing, my brother, my cousins.
Yeah. Would you start playing with them also? With your brothers,
so we'd literally just go to the leisure centre like 2 times a week in those early days, and it was just basically a hobby. And it probably got to the point where I was the one sort of saying, "Oh, Dad, come and go to squash today." Can we sort of nagging, all my cousins to take me to squash.
Yeah.
And then obviously it developed to the point where you were playing most days, and then started playing those sort of junior tournaments at like under 11 and the 13s.
Yeah.
And then just started moving up and down the country, playing all of the junior tournaments, really.
Yeah, and then when did you start with the under 13 tournaments and everything? When did you start to, kick on with your squash? And what was your earliest memory? Your most vivid memory from playing in your first, proper junior squash tournament?
Yeah, there's a few memories. I'd started probably winning, regional tournaments like County Closed and your Nottingham Open and your Sheffield Open and that kind of stuff, Birmingham Open, whatever, at the third level. But obviously that was just regional. And then I think I played a British Open when I was under 13s.
Good.
Yeah, I remember playing a British Open, and I think I lost out the first or second round. I remember being literally a bag of nerves. I was like the most nervous kid in the world. And obviously this was all like, at this point I didn't even know kids all over the world played squash, and it was like this big thing. I sort of rocked up to this British Open. I must have been maybe 11 or 12. And that was kind of, I guess, my first major event, and I lost in, like the first round. I got sort of tanked, 3-love. I remember coming off court, I think I was like sick or something after, because I was so nervous before. I remember coming off court and just like throwing up or something. I think I was that like anxious.
Yeah. What do you think, just because it was your first tournament, that's what made you so anxious?
Yeah, I think there's quite a lot of people there, as there are at these kind of British Opens and that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's like the Wimbledon for juniors, isn't it?
Yeah, it was like the big one, and you were just such a small fish in a big pond, because there was all these kids from all over the world, and you were kind of just in your own little bubble of having played county tournaments and all the rest of it, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh, this is actually a big thing,
Yeah. So did you have any friends, like close friends who were similar level as you, doing the same thing, tournaments in squash, or was it really you started making friends in the squash world before you had friends who were already playing squash?
I think it was more, making friends that I met through squash. I was probably a little bit of a loner almost when I was like super young, 10, 11. So I didn't have that many friends like when I was growing up as a young kid. So definitely it was a nice way to meet people. And looking back now at those junior days, it was kind of the best time, because especially when we'd go away to the European tournaments like the Pioneer Cup, the Dutch Open, the famous ones, and you'd kind of just be making friends and having literally the best time, just getting up to no good half the time. And it almost wasn't, the squash didn't really matter. I mean, you still, gave everything in your matches, and you still were there to compete, but you were almost there because of the social side and making friendships and making memories. That was kind of what I remember, as much as I remember the actual squash in those days.
Yeah, it must have been insane. So who was coaching you through this? Who was your coach at the time?
So I never had a
15,
coach.
16?
Yes, I never had a coach as a junior, believe it or not.
No way, so you self-taught?
Well, as I say, my uncle taught me the rudimentals and the basics for those first couple of years.
Yeah.
And then literally until I was 18 and I turned pro and I started working with Phil Whitlock. I never had a coach growing up as a junior. Yeah.
That's insane. So you were not on your own, but because you had your family with you. I'm sure your uncle went to a couple of your tournaments, or your dad, or your mum.
Yeah.
But you didn't have a coach training you pre-tournament.
Never worked with a coach as a junior. I tried a couple when I was like 12, 13, and they all tried to get me to change my technique or to just start doing things radically different. And I was kind of at an age where I was like, not that I didn't want to listen to other people and I was hard-headed or anything like that. I wanted to play my own brand of
So you were quite independent as a junior.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, because I wasn't the best junior growing up by any stretch. I mean, I got to England #1 in the under-17s, but until I was, say, 15, 16, I wasn't the best junior by any stretch. I was maybe like top 5, top 10. So I was kind of just on my own in a way. I mean, my dad was and always has been my biggest supporter, really. And it was kind of our little bonding thing that we'd do together. It was, apart from that, from a technical, tactical experience point of view, I was kind of just learning as I went along. It was kind of learning on the job, really.
That leads me on to my next question. Now that I know that you didn't have a coach with you, or telling you how to behave on court, how did you cope with a win or a loss? Winning. How did you cope with winning? You weren't big-headed about winning, or with a loss, were you frustrated with yourself, or?
I'd like to think that I wasn't. I'm probably not the best person to ask about that, but I think I was just so fortunate with the way that I was raised by my parents. What's funny, the stories that I used to see of kids just getting berated by their parents and put under so much pressure. We used to go to junior tournaments, and every week you would see parents going mad or just getting too emotionally involved with their kids winning or losing it. And I used to just remember thinking, I feel so sorry for these kids, because by complete contrast, my dad was there, and you've met my dad. He's pretty cool, calm, collected chap. And I was just so fortunate that I had that example to learn from. I learned so much from my dad in terms of how to control your emotions and how to keep your state level-headed, because regardless of whether I won or lost, he was cool with it. He was cool, as long as I didn't go on and tank it and not try. He was just kind of like, give it your best. If I lost, you
weren't hot-headed on court. You were quite chill because of the way your dad was, or.
Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, I snapped a few rackets when I was 12, 13. Not really in tournaments. It would be more like when I was training, or I never got angry when I was in tournaments or stuff, because I knew that if I did something disrespectful, I knew I'd get an absolute kick up the backside by but if I acted out, I knew I'd be getting a clap around the ears, because that was just the culture back then, and that was how I was raised. Like, if you step out of line and you're disrespectful, then you're going to get punished for it, which I'm very grateful for now. But yeah, I never really acted out in terms of at tournaments. It was just, you go on court and you try your best, and if you lose, then that's okay. There's going to be another tournament or whatever, and that's literally.
What age were you then?
This is right from the start of my junior career.
Oh,
so this is like 11, 12.
Quite mature with it then.
Yeah, I think so. I think I was fortunate enough to be fairly mature for my age in regards of how to control emotions, behaviour. That, in fact, it's probably was, and maybe still is, my best attribute as an athlete.
Oh, yeah, of course,
It's just my temperament, because I used to sort of get comments from other parents and stuff saying, "Oh, your behaviour on court's so good, and you never sort of lose your rag," and these kind of things. And that's not to be sort of big-headed about it, but it was just, once I started to see other people gave me admiration for that. I wanted people to respect me, even if they didn't like me or whatever. I still wanted people to respect me, and I didn't want people to be able to say, you know, oh, that kid's really really badly behaved, or look what that kid's just done, or whatever.
Yeah. You wanted to have a good reputation.
A good reputation, because I knew that would reflect on my parents as well.
Yeah.
I didn't want to be that kid, you know, that other parents were talking about. Oh, look at so-and-so's kid just smashed his racket, just shouting his parents, all that kind of stuff.
When you were on court, were you trying to please your parents more than you were trying to please yourself? Or
no, never. Just that disappointed myself, because having respect for my opponent and behaving well was just sort of a prerequisite. It was just, that was the standard. Like, anything other than that's not acceptable. Do you know what I mean? So that wasn't like extra brownie points for being good on court. It was just that is the bare minimum. You behave correctly, and that's the end of it. So no, when I took losses, it was more just disappointment for myself in terms of, could I have done something better? What went wrong? What am I going to do better next time? So, and it's the same today. I'm definitely my own biggest critic, probably too much at times. I'll be too hard on myself, but that's just how I've always just expected excellence from myself. So it's kind of hard to live up to that sometimes, you know. Sometimes you do have to just forgive yourself and just say, it's all right, you got it wrong today.
Leading on to your you know, professional career, where you 18, you say, when you started?
Turned pro at 18, yeah.
So did you, when before you turned pro, when was it you came to recognition of, wow, I can be a pro and I can make a career out of this?
It actually wasn't that long before I turned professional, believe it or not. I was at college from 16 studying business, and it was kind of when I was 16, 17, and obviously in college every day, but still training every day, sometimes twice a day. And it was at that point when I was umming and ahhing, because I wasn't sure if I'd be good enough to turn professional, which probably sounds a bit crazy, because I was, you know, the best junior in the country at this point. And I used to look at the PSA players and be amazed at how good they were, even at like 100 in the world level, 150, 200. I used to look at these guys and think, they're so good, how on earth am I ever going to get to like the top 100 in the world? Because I look at how good these players are. This was genuinely my train of thought when I was 16. It was like, oh, I'm not sure if I'm good enough to ever reach that level. And then when I was sort of 16, 17, I think I started playing those closed satellite events, those little $1,000 PSA events, and then just, you know, getting on court with professional players was kind of the first step. And then, I guess when I was sort of turning 17, I was like, okay, you know, I'm going to give this a go, because it's the thing that I'm best at in life. It's part of my life.
You enjoy it the most.
I enjoy it, and it's the thing that I've got the most expertise in, so I'm going to give it a go, and we'll just see what happens. That was kind of my mindset, you know.
Saying that, what has been your biggest high from 18 to where you are now in your career so far? What's been your highlight?
For sure, it's the bronze medal in the Commonwealth Games 2 years ago. The best experience, the proudest moment, probably. The proudest moment of my life, and just being a part of that whole process. I know a lot of people in the squash world don't really think or don't care about the doubles, and they don't really see any importance in it, which is absolutely fine, because obviously the Commonwealth is the only place where we play it. But once you're in that environment and in that atmosphere of playing in the Commonwealth Games, where you've got all these other world-class athletes from all the different countries, and you're part of that, and you're representing, you know, the whole England team, it's a different level, it's a different pressure to anything I've ever experienced, different level of nerves of everything else, but then a different level of excitement and joy. It was, you know,
even recently when you were, England came second, and you were playing Gawad, that was, you know, jaw-dropping, wasn't it? It was, for people watching like myself, it was, insane.
It was a good week, and it's, again, it's always... The guys always say when you play for England, it's just something extra, and it's true. You know, if it's a European team championship, if it's a world team championship, if it's a Commonwealth Games, when you put an England shirt on your back, it's just a different feeling. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but obviously
you feel like you're supporting your country.
Yeah, because obviously squash is such an individual sport, right? You do it for yourself. You have to be very selfish in certain situations to get to the top of world squash. It's all about you, like your team around you. Everything's geared towards you performing at your best, which is kind of the way it has to be if you're going to get to the top. But then when you're in a team event, all of a sudden it's like, I'm not doing this for myself, I'm doing it for the country. And so it just gives you an extra percentage, an extra boost. And for me, in many ways, it relieves a lot of pressure because I expect a lot from myself and I want to please myself. When I'm doing it for other people, it's almost like I don't really matter, and that's it's a really good feeling, because it's like, well, you're going out there today. And
in your career so far, what has been in the PSA, or it doesn't have to be in the PSA, who has given you your toughest match physically and mentally? If it's the same person or different, then yeah, but physically first, who's really, try to break your barriers? And
3 matches come to mind. So one, I played Diego in the Nash Cup in Canada about 5 years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. So this is when Diego was he hadn't gone up into the top 10, or he wasn't at that level at all. And I won that 3-2, but it was about 100 minutes, and I think we were both, he was sort of cramping at the end, I was exhausted, so we had this massive 100-minute battle on the back courts in Canada, and it was a small tournament, it wasn't that important, but at the time that was one of the best matches that we both played, or I played anyway, in my early days in terms of exhaustion. Another one, of course, the match against James in Nantes in the final, again, was 80 minutes, 11-9 in the fifth, and because anyone who's been on court with James, or as you know from watching him play, he makes you just do so much work. So I was literally flat out.
Incredible touch, it's insane.
Yeah, playing against him is so hard, and that's another match where I was just flat out. From 2-1 down, I was sort of, I was calling upon all of the physical work that I'd done in that summer just to hang, just to stay in there. It was just pure work from 2-1 down. It wasn't even squash anymore. It was literally just, I'm just going to have to work hard for another 20 minutes, half an hour. I don't even know how I won that match because I don't really work.
It's where when you're so tired on court and it just becomes, this is all I've got left in the tank, and I'm just going to... Mentally, who's got in your head?
Who's got in my head?
Yeah.
That match with Gawad in the Worlds was tough. That was another sort of 90, 100 minute 3-2, 12-10 in the fifth. I was just gone I was empty at the end of that. I had nothing left to give. And it's one of those where you come off court, you're not even that disappointed with yourself. You've literally left everything on court. It's funny, they say, when you give everything, you can't have any regrets, and you look back and you can only be happy with yourself. It was probably, the happiest I've been.
Preparation for a match, when it comes to the mental aspect of the game, so important, and some people might say it's overlooked because certain coaches focus more on physicality and things like that. But what do you think is the most important thing in the when it comes to preparation for a match? What is your mentality? What keeps you focused and keeps you focused on the game? You're not thinking about other things. And
it's relaxation. Relaxation's the key, because you know me, I'm a fairly relaxed character, but under the surface it's not always the case. Like, I get nerves just like everyone else before matches.
Breaking that barrier of fear going on court, how long did that take?
Oh, it's ongoing.
Was it? Yeah.
You never get over it, and all these things that happen to you as a junior are like little mini traumas. Even the fact that I can recall that story now, 15 years later, kind of shows you that scarred me as a child, and all those moments where I felt sick before going on court, and I felt so like a bag of nerves and I couldn't perform. All of these moments stay with you, they traumatise you and they affect you growing up, because we're a product of what happens to us from a young age. Those times are very we're very absorbent with things that happen around us at that age, and we take them on, and they affect who we grow up to be as people. So it's an ongoing battle. I'm never going to probably be at a point where I don't care and I've got zero nerves and everything's absolutely fine. And I don't want to be at that point before I go on court, because it shows that you have passion, shows care. So it's an ongoing battle for me. So then, you know, fast forward 8 years, and we're in the semi-final of my first world my first world team champs for England.
Yeah.
And then I've got to play this decider again, 1-1 decider, semi-final, and I'm kind of thinking, oh, remember that time when you lost to Gawad 3-love, and so I'm just thinking, oh, do I have to play this match? I don't want to play, like, just send someone else. All these range of emotions are going through your head, and it was great. Before I went on court, and they're about to announce us on, and then Dave Campion, the England coach, came into my corner, and we just looked at each other and just started laughing. And really just said, you know, this is, what a crazy situation to be in. You're at a world team champs. How often do these sort of things happen? And that little 30 seconds, it just flicked a switch. I just relaxed all of a sudden, because nothing was being expected from me, and we just had this little chuckle to each other, and then I just went on and played the best match I've ever played in my life, pretty much. So that's why I know, for me, it's just relaxation. Just don't worry, like, it's not the end of the, just a squash match. You know, and just go on and have fun. And I think the enjoyment thing is just so important for people, especially for juniors, because I'm the type of person that reads into things too much, and I overthink things, and I worry about things too much. So I know, for me, okay, it's just a squash match. Don't worry. Just go and try your best. If you lose, it's okay, sort of a thing. And if you win, great, because all of the big performances I've put in have been when I've managed to lock in that mindset of just try your best, don't worry about everything else. You know, there's just control what you can control.
People who will be watching this, you know, and the juniors especially, being able to hear that from you is, you know, can be inspiring. Going from, you know, breaking down, you know, before a match, crying because you're worried again, it's come back, and then just switching. It shows what can happen.
Yeah, 100%. And it's just, you're not going to get it right every time. Don't worry about that. Just embrace your imperfection. Embrace that we get things wrong, and you're going to have these feelings of nervousness and what if this, what if that, and you're just not going to get it right every time. I still don't. It's the balancing act, and I try. It's just part of the game, mate. It is what it is. It's how you deal with the things that come upon you. Just your ability to rationalise the situations and just try and do your best, even though you might feel a bit of a niggle here and there, and you feel apprehension and nerves, and you've just got to crack on. And because in 5, 10, 15 years' time, you're not going to be thinking, oh, if only I wasn't nervous.
Yeah, that's the thing. It doesn't become an importance.
Exactly, it's not important. But when you fast forward a few years, it was just a squash match. Do you know what I mean?
Number 23 in the world. Congratulations, where you are at the moment. Now, current to number 23. What 3 steps would you give yourself to bring yourself back up to that top 20?
Consistency, number 1.
Yeah.
Execution, number 2.
Yeah.
And again, just relaxation, which for me is so important. And I think I am a better player than when I was at 15 in the world. Even though I ranked lower, I had obviously
from having setbacks, you can learn loads.
100%. So yeah, I think I'm going to get back there, and I think I'm going to be able to get into the top 10. It's just going to take time. It's kind of, everyone sort of says, when you're going to be top 10, when you're going to be top 10, when you're going to be top 10, and it's kind of like, you know, let's give me time, I'm only 27. I think I've got time on my side. I don't think I'm at my peak yet. I think I can get a lot better. I think there's weaknesses in my game which I'm working on at the moment.
In your squash career, where do you see yourself in 5 years' time?
In the top 10. Yeah, definitely.
You
I'll be 32.
Here. Top 10, 5 years.
Yeah, by the time I'm 32, I'll be in the top 10, and hopefully hopefully I'll have some more Commonwealth silverware, money in the bank, and a top 10 ranking. Yeah, that would be quite nice.
Yeah. When do you think you show weaknesses on court, if you even do show a weakness?
I think just if I'm being too negative.
Yeah.
I think that's my biggest weakness. Sometimes I am too negative. And
examples of like, do you get vocal on court, or
no? I mean, I'll say the odd word to the ref if I disagree with something, but I won't moan and I won't shout, because it gets you nowhere. Yeah. As I've always said, a ref won't change his mind, so what's the point in arguing?
Yeah.
Especially now that we've got video review in place. If you disagree with something, you just review, right? So I don't really get vocal. I'll get vocal to myself. I'll give myself a slap around the head and say, "What are you doing?" sort of a thing.
Yeah.
But no, my weakness.
So you won't blame others. You blame yourself.
No. It's down to the fact that your opponent was better than you on the day. So if your opponent's better than you on the day, you can't blame anyone. That's just, they were better. Take your hat off. Aside from that, yeah, you've only got yourself to blame for what's going on. Even with decisions that the ref makes, if you think you've been refed out of a match, you think referee's given the wrong decisions, all the rest of it, I was robbed here, he gave me nothing today, why not flip that on its coin and just say to yourself, why did I allow the match to be so close that the refereeing decisions made the difference? Because look at boxing, how many fights will go to a draw and the majority of the crowd think one boxer won and the other got robbed or whatever, but it was the boxer who should have won. It was his fault that he let it go to a decision, that he didn't get the knockout blow. That's how I look at things. Mm-hmm. So I never want to be in a match that's so close that it can be swung by refereeing decisions. If I lose, I want to lose because my opponent outplayed me and was just the better man on the day. I don't want a decision to be affected, or a match result to be affected by refereeing decisions. And anyone who does apportion blame to decisions, they're not seeing things clearly. It's irrational.
Okay, so moving away from squash now, talk more about you and your personality outside of squash. If you could invite 3 people to a dinner party, past or present, who would they be?
Malcolm Gladwell would be one. So he's an author. He's written a number of books that I've read, like Blink and The Tipping Point and Outliers. Ali would be 2.
Muhammad
Ali. What a legend. And then it would probably be someone like Nelson Mandela as well, just because I think he achieved so much in his life on a humanitarian level, and I think he'd have some crazy stories to tell, because obviously he was in prison for so long and all the rest of it. So I think Gladwell would be able to tell you some unbelievable stories, and the way that he thinks about things, very interesting.
In the squash world now, what 3 people would you invite to a party who play squash? Women or male?
Women or male? Ooh, who would I invite? George Parker. Just because just because there'd be pure entertainment, something crazy would happen. Ali Farag, huge amount of respect for him. He's a class act. Third one.
It's interesting. You're taking longer to think about the squash than you are about the.
That's it.
Anyone.
That's it. Yeah, probably Jimbo, just because he's a very, very interesting person to talk to.
If you were a drink, what drink would you be?
Oof. Are we talking alcoholic or just non-alcoholic?
We'll go soft drink. We'll go soft drink.
I was about to come out with all kinds of cocktails, man.
We go soft drink.
Probably just like a glass of cordial, and it's water, so it's healthy for you, but it's a little bit sweet as well, like me.
What's your favourite film?
Film is Inception.
was the last song you downloaded on your phone?
Downloaded, are we including like streaming or actually downloaded off iTunes?
Like downloaded as in seen the song, put it on your playlist.
Well, the last song I actually downloaded was Butterfly Effect by Travis Scott.
Yeah,
Obviously, I've been listening to it for years, but I actually downloaded it because I wanted to use it for a video.
What was the last meal you cooked, and what would you rate it out of 10?
So I cooked a steak last night. I had a steak with some broccoli, some beans, and what else did I have? Might have been some egg and some scrambled eggs or something. And I would give it a 7.5 out of 10.
Who is your closest friend off court?
Off court?
Yeah.
Probably Dom, who you have met a few times.
In the squash world?
At the moment, it'd probably be the likes of George, Daryl, and Joel.
How to
Quickfire.
answer? Yes, quick fire questions. You're allowed to answer yes, no, or no comment. Because some of the questions.
That no comment might come in useful, you know. I like it.
You're-
No holding back.
So,
Yeah.
have you kissed another PSA player?
Yes.
Have you had an argument with a PSA player off court?
No, I don't think so.
Have you ever thought about giving up squash?
Not seriously.
Have you ever broken a racket on court?
Yeah, probably back when I was like 12, 13, yeah.
Have you ever wished that anyone lost the match during a tournament to make it easier on yourself?
Yeah.
Thank you for your honesty. We've done the quickfire. Now it's going to be quite a similar thing, but with squash players' names. So I'm going to give you a squash player name, and you've got to give one word to describe them.
Okay.
Ali Farag,
Class.
Nick Matthews,
Tenacious.
Daryl Selby,
Smooth.
Mohamed El Shabaghi,
Beast.
James Woolstrop,
Accurate.
and Paul Colt.
Strong.
You've played at my club, and
Yeah.
you've been an asset to the team. Quite.
Big up the Surbiton.
What has that been like for you? Like the journey of experiencing what other people think of you and how they see you off court, because no doubt you've spoken to other people at my club, and on court, like the atmosphere they give.
Amazing. It's been one of the best parts of the last year or two, at least from playing squash in England, has been coming down to Surbiton. And a lot of the time, if we're being honest, when you play team squash in the leagues, you're kind of a bit of a mercenary about it. You're just going to pick up a paycheck, do the business and get out of there. Just being honest, that's the way it is a lot of the time, because you'd have trained once or twice that day. You'd have sat in the car for a few hours, so you might not always want to be the most sociable and sit around having dinner and all the rest of it when you just want to get home and go to bed, because you've got to get up and do a running session the next morning. So, but it's been different with Surbiton, because all of you guys have been so nice to me and looked after me, and just been good people, just a really good bunch of people. Obviously meeting you and starting a friendship with you and all that kind of stuff. So it does make things a lot better when you are around good people.
And finally, if you could ask yourself one question, what would it be?
It's a good one, that. I would just ask myself how to learn what's right for me.
Yeah.
In terms of getting in the right mindset, doing the right things on court. I would just ask myself as early as I could, what do you need to do to be at your best every time you're on court?
What's one question you would like to ask me?
Let me change it up.
Okay.
Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a tough one. With the job, hopefully I'm still playing squash, still keeping fit. Hopefully would have improved my squash massively. And hopefully by then as well would have had my miles by then, I would have my operation. So that would be interesting to see how my body has coped with that over 5 years.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed, with my job, I have enough money to get my own place.
Good man, I like it. Big goals.
Tell me one thing no one knows about you.
Oh, I hate this question. I like classical music. I listen to classical music on my own sometimes in my house, like when I'm cooking or before bed.
And well, that's the end of the interview. Thanks so much, Dec, for your time. Thanks everyone at home for watching. If you've made it this far, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.